You got to have integrity. Machine gun approach. I mean, we're just reading the books. I mean, we want what we want, but we can't find a way to accomplish it. Every person is silently pleading to be led. So your integrity is what determined your ability last year. I know on paper it shows that I'm a nobody, but man, look in my eyes. If you knew what I could do, the paper does not tell who I really am. Mac Agabor, Haven Real Talk. Happy New Year. All right, we're going to talk about how to make this new year your best year ever, how to crush your goals. The ability to crush your goals is based on your ability to fulfill your goals. And so people go to seminars like Tony Robbins, the power within and all these different seminars, finding a way to become their best self, to almost command themselves. You guys ever had a dog? I mean, my dog just got out yesterday. I mean, I'm like, I'm going to just give him one of these. I mean, we take care of him, do all these things for him, but the door opens and he like looks at me and he runs out, right? You think to yourself, how can you create control? How can you control yourself? We're like that dog. We want what we want, but we can't find a way to accomplish it. And so if you were taking notes, this is the first thing you have to understand. Every person is silently pleading to be led. They're hoping that you have the answer to the instruction booklet to how to become the best me, because we know it's within us, but how to accomplish it, that's the question. And what's even more confusing, there's 300 million gurus out there proposing their format as the best. So one thing I'm going to share with you today is I'm definitely not a guru, but I will say there's some grassroots principles that you can follow that will help you succeed no matter what. But I'm going to tell you, in addition to that, specifically how you can know right now whether or not you will hit your money goals today. And these grassroots principles, they aren't new. They've been around for a minute. The reason people look at different people, gurus, is people explain things in a different way sometimes that resonate with you that may not have resonated with the last guy. But if you look deep enough, like a scientist, it's the same principles. So one of the biggest principles here is you got to have integrity, yo. You got to have integrity. So your integrity is what determined your ability last year. Your lack of integrity as well determined your ability last year. So your integrity will have to increase. Now, how you monitor your integrity increasing, that's what we're going to talk about. But I'm just giving you the grassroots. You got to have vision and you got to have integrity. That's it. Training's over. It can be done right now. Vision and integrity. The scripture, the good book says, where there is no vision, the people perish. Some of us, we know what we would like to do or what we would like to happen, but we got no idea. It's so blurry how to get there. We're like, huh? Some of us, we can't even imagine what it looks like. It's like, people have bifocals or they need glasses. Like, they have an idea in their mind what they think it should look like, but as far as clarity, it's still like, kind of blurry a little bit. Clarity is what they're looking for. So you need integrity, you need vision. So everything you do has to be checking both of those boxes. Is it clarifying my vision or is it giving me integrity? So first things first, well, you got to clarify your vision. If you didn't have vision, you wouldn't get up this morning. It's called faith. Like that runs everything in your life. If you didn't believe you would make it safely to the store, guess what you wouldn't do? You wouldn't drive. And we take it for granted, these small things that we believe so that literally fuel us, that we just say, well, I can't do it. No, it took faith. Now, if you were brand new spaceship, let's make it even clearer. A spaceship, the newest form of vehicles, electric vehicles. I mean, all these new things, they were new for some, even automobile was new at some point for somebody, but it took faith for someone to say, you know what, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna believe something. So that faith is what you need. So that vision, you need to have vision of what you like to have happen, and then decide, okay, has anyone gotten there before? Well, if they have, well, go find them. And this is a point. I'm hoping someone was taking notes. I'm hoping this will help somebody. We have a desire to go do and find and search, and it's great to do personal development. But you know what some of us do in personal development search is we go the machine gun approach. I mean, we're just reading the books. I mean, some of us, we ain't even doing personal development. You guys ever seen those movies where you know the guy don't know how to shoot? He's like, bam, bam, bam. We're like, how are you hitting anybody shooting like that, right? We ain't shooting that bad, but we got the machine gun of books. We just, I read this today. I read this month, this week. You know what we should do? How about you read one book? Read one. Maybe, because some of us, we've read a bunch of them. If you haven't read a lot of them, well, I mean, you should be reading one book a month. Find one book and master it. Because that book, as long as it has all the components, vision and integrity, and each book has things that you're supposed to do. But you know what folks do? They read the book. Their mind is satisfied. Then their mind goes to take a dump. This being real. And they're cool. They go to the next book. How about you just read one and execute? Like maybe take 1 month to read it, the next month to execute. I guarantee you, if you read 2 books a year, I mean, you focused 2 a year, you took 6 months and you were just executing the heck out of that book. And then the next 6 months, it was the next book, it'd be game over. So I'm being very, very clear that we need to be very, very intentional. If you want to hit your goals in 2024, do not be one of those jokers that just makes goals and you throw all these goals around. And then 2025 comes around, then you're in the same spot you were at in 2025. Be so intentional that when you're done with this year, even if it didn't work, you know for sure it didn't work. Hey, those principles in that book, that was not it. And then you got 2026, 2025 to go run through, right? So choose 2, y'all. Choose 2 and execute the heck out of those 2. Be intentional for that. All right, I'm gonna speed up a little bit. So that's vision. Get clarity. Choose a book. Usually I say book, movie, because they give us vision. You kind of associate with people. When you go to conference, you're seeing things you haven't seen before. It's blowing your mind. Get with people, connect with people. If you were like, when people that want to lose weight, the first thing that the trainer tells them is they need a little diary of everything that they eat and everything that they do. And the trainer, from what they tell in the diary, will say, okay, that's the problem. So if you did a diary on the associations you had every day, that will be the problem. So you are the result of the 5 people you associate with in life. Who are you associating with? And the 5th person, by the way, is you. You're with you all the time. And some of you are toxic to yourself. You need to let yourself go. Some of you need to give yourself, like, you gave yourself a death sentence. You need to forgive yourself. And that's where the PD, the personal development, comes in. So it's more than just reading the book. You need to rewire your mind, because this one person, the 5th of the 4 of the 5 people, that's you. Even if you wanted, you couldn't let that person go physically. You got to let them go mentally. And then that person starts becoming a contributor instead of a detractor against you. So ask yourself, do a diary. Who are the 5 people that I associate with on a daily basis? And if we're looking income, how much do those people make? That would kind of be a clue. Now, there's 5 real different areas of wealth. There is spiritual, There's intellectual, there is emotional, there is physical, right? So wealth is more than just money. But when we're talking about finances, who are the 5 folks you associate with and how much do they make? If they make the same as you, it's a clue. You need to get around more folks or get around people who are going after it. Hence the reason I'm asking myself, if you're trying to be intentional this year, why would you not spend every waking moment with the people going after the same direction you're going? Think about that. Okay. Transitioning another topic. Every bank, when they're about to give a loan to a client, they have a risk score. Banks are not in the business of losing money. So they rate you on the credit. We know that much. They rate you on your income and all these other things that they rate you on, right? They ask these questions and the computer is already set to, if you're below a certain score, kind of like how America does the health score, it just automatically declines you. Don't even try. Thanks, but no thanks. But when you've gotten past a certain score, hey, it may be needed approval, or it may say needs additional underwriting, but they have a score. So if you want to know whether you're going to win or not, for some of you who've already seen this, call me a broken record. This is called the Haven 12. This is going to be your risk score of yourself. You are the bank of Ron. You're the bank of Jose, bank of Crystal, bank of Trina, bank of Valerie. You are the one that's funding your business. You are you, like you were the CEO, and you are going to the CEO of the bank, the underwriter is saying, hey, here's my business plan. Will you please give me money to buy leads, to go to conference, to do this? Before a bank gives you any money, they're going to see, are you legit? Are you going to lose our money or are you going to make us money? And the bank is not in the business of losing money. Neither is your mind. Before I go on, I want to tell you, your mind is actually engineered. It's genius. God did a great work in that. Your mind is meant to protect you from destruction. So your mind, when it's being questioned, should I invest in this? Your mind looks at the past. That's all it goes from. And if you don't have a past, it borrows the past of the parental tape. Maybe you were taught, maybe your association. The bank of your mind will say, okay, should we invest in this? It will say, well, what is it going to take? Well, you never succeeded before. It'll say things like, well, you don't even get up on time. I got to do that. Like it'll say those things. And the bank is being legit. It's trying to protect you because your mind's job is to keep you from harm. Just like the bank's job, the underwriters, is to keep them from harm. So your mind will make those judgment calls. And so when you feel these feelings of anxiety, of trepidation, that's coming from your mind. It's trying to protect you. Where it comes from, that's your job to find out. Like you need to go do some deep dive in. Where is this coming from? Why am I scared? Oh, is it because I have no credit history of success? Or is it in the past, my credit is shot that I did try, but I failed. So my mind is saying, stop. But you guys know I mean, hey, if you like me, you grew up in the school of hard knocks. You've been in those situations where you say to the banker, the CEO, hey, Mr. CEO, I know on paper it shows that I'm a nobody. But man, look in my eyes. If you knew what I could do, the paper does not tell who I really am. That's what you're doing to this bank. So I'm going to give you a chance to do 2 things. You are going to decide your risk score, and you're going to give your mind something that it can use tangible to go from. So welcome to the Haven 12. These 12 things, if you do these 12 things, you're going to win. You will rate yourself 1 to 10 on these 12, and every week you will rate your probability of success in this business, even before you start. And with the probability of success, you will then be able to go to your bank, the bank of you, and legitimately be able to say, here is my business plan. Based on the past, here's my projected possibility of success. Will you please give me a loan? And I will say this, hey, if you got a 70% chance, some banks will, some banks won't. They take different amounts of risk depending on who the bank is. Maybe the bank needs more money, so they'll take a risk on you. Maybe they're a CU and they have different rules, right? So it depends on who you ask. But nonetheless, you're going to be able to get a track. So remember, you're going to give yourself a score from 1 to 10. 10 means you'll do it. 1, I'll tell you what it is. So if you're going to win, 1 to 5 is just you being a salesperson, you being an insurance provider protecting families. Number 1, you will submit to the process of 100, meaning you will do 100 appointments as the scoreboard. You will not judge yourself on success or failure until you have run 100 appointments. You are not qualified to judge yourself on how well or what you're not doing until you run 100 appointments. Now, the idea would be to run 100 appointments quickly. I mean, at least within 90 days. I mean, the idea would be to compress time, do in 90 days, do in 60 days what it would take you to do in 90 days. And if you're serious, do in 30 days what it would take you to do in 90 days, right? Once you've run 100 appointments, you are now an expert in the business. You've pretty much come across every scenario that you're going to come across. But until you've done that, you're not qualified. It's like a child saying, man, girls have cooties. I'm never going to get married. You're like, you don't even know. It's that silly making a judgment call. I will say this, your experience of the business, it's possible it's not really the business. Your experience of the business from the day you got started to now, it's just your experience, your perspective. It's possible that you're not doing it properly. Hence, you need more appointments to be able to get a better average. I've had people who come in this business, they want to buy leads. I said, hey, I bought leads. Great job. How many you buy? 5. Yeah. Come on now. Like 100 appointments. So if you're committed to 100 appointments, no matter what, like you will, I don't care how bad you think you are, how bad it gets, you will run 100 appointments. Give yourself a 10. If you're like, well, it depends, give yourself a 5. If you're like, well, I don't know, give yourself a 0. Invest in leads every week. You got to invest in your business every week. Meaning you will buy leads every week in order to get to your 100 appointments. Now, enough leads. Here's what we know. Part-time, it's $500 a week. Full-time, minimum of 1,000. Minimum of 1,000. More so 1,500 a week. If you're committed to that, give yourself a 10. If you're like, maybe it depends on how well I do, give yourself a 5. If you're like, I got to be honest with you, if it depends on how well you do, give yourself a 0. I'm just being honest with you. Don't even start, because you're saying you want to get to New York because that's where your dreamland is. That's where your why is. But we're saying, hey, you have to buy fuel every week. Well, it depends on how far I go. Well, don't even start then. Just stay at home because you ain't going to get there. Who knows where you'll be, right? You're going to hurt yourself. $500 a week, part-time, $1,500 a week, full-time. That's it. Number 3, you commit your dial days. If you're doing in-home sales, you're committed to Monday, Thursday, your dial days. You dial Mondays, you book for Tuesday and Wednesday. You dial Thursday, you book for Friday and Saturday. Virtual sales, telesales, every day is a dial day. 3 shifts, we talked about this. 7 to 11, 12 to 4, 5 to 9. In each shift, you're committed to dialing every day. You're going to dial 300 dials, 2 presentations, or make 1 sale each shift. If you're full-time, you have to commit to at least 2 shifts. 2 shifts. Now, once your plan's off the ground and you can knock out 3, 4 families protected in an hour, hey, do what you want to do. But until your plan gets off the ground, you're committed to 2 shifts. If you're part-time, commit to at least 1 shift, right? 300 dials, 2 presentations, 1 sale. 3, 2, 1. Pretty easy to remember. If you are committed to that, give yourself a 10. If you're half, maybe I can't, whatever excuse, whatever, give yourself a 0. Just being honest with you. You're going to run 15 appointments a week, minimum, part-time. 30 appointments a week is full-time. Now, if you're virtual sales, actually you add 10 more to that because of the no-show rate. So if you're virtual sales, it's more like 25 if you're part-time. And if you're full-time, it's more like really 45, really, but because these are in-home numbers. If you're committed to running those appointments, and what I mean committed, meaning if you haven't hit those goals, you will take an extra shift. So if you say you're committed to 15 and you only run 13 for the week, well, take an extra shift, commit to it. After all, this is your business, right? Give yourself a 10. If you're like, maybe, give yourself a 5. I'll give you a 5 on that one. And then 5, sharpen your sword daily. That means you're going to find a way to get better. We have trainings every week, which on Wednesdays, we have the SRS liftoff.com. That's SRS Samuel, Romeo, Samuel, liftoff, like a spaceship.com. We'll get you that flyer. Every day of the week, there's a training. We're doing one every day. Remember, 1 o'clock, we're sharpening our axe. If you are committed to sharpening your axe, I think of this akin to stretching. If you're an athlete professionally, whenever do you just go into a game without any pregame? Like, do you just show up, get out of your car, and just start playing the game? I mean, who does that? If you're a professional, that's what like rookies do. Like intramurals, they do that. And then guess what? Middle of the game, oh, I pulled my calf. Oh, I got a hammy. Like that's what rookies do. So we're talking about, I'm talking stretching. Every day, if this profession is supposed to be what's going to take you to be able to build that money machine, why would you not be sharpening your axe every day? Worst case scenario, Family First Life, YouTube. Search them. They got podcasts galore, right? So if you're just selling only, you're not building an agency, add up all those numbers you gave yourself and divide by 5. That number is your percentage of success that you're going to bring the bank of you. Some of you, it's 30. And I'm asking you right now, if you were a bank and someone came to you with a business plan and it was a 30% possibility of success and the bank's funds were tight, would you invest in that business? I wouldn't either. And so when we talk about the mind having confidence, the reason I have confidence is because when I was smaller, I started doing things where if I said I was going to do it, I was going to do it. And so my mind had confidence that I have some kind of integrity. I'm not perfect. I mean, I got a lot of things to work on. But one thing about me is if Max says he will do it, he will do it. So I got that. So the only thing I needed to do was find the playbook called the Haven 12. I guarantee you, if you do these, you will win. There is no doubt about it. I'm telling you, take it to the bank. I will bet my entire month's commissions that you will win if you do these. So will you do it? So continuing, if you're going to build an agency, you're going to expose 2 people a day. Share the story of the Haven Financial, Family First Life, 2 a day. Hey, do you keep your income options open? Hey, I was thinking about you. You may or may not be interested, but I thought you might know someone we're looking for. Hey, our agency has a surplus of leads. We got more leads than we got agents. Do you know anyone that might be open to an extra 2 to maybe 2 to 3, 4, 5 grand a week? Okay, take a look at this. If it makes sense, just asking that question twice a day. That's what you do. Facebook, whatever you want to do it. If you're committed to that, give yourself a 10. If maybe, again, 5. Attend a weekly team huddle. That's this. Every Monday, 1 to 2, we have a team huddle. We talked about we're going to have different topics. We will be growing. If you're committed to taking a time out every week, showing up here, give yourself a 10. If not, and it's a maybe, give yourself a 0. Number 8, quarterly sales conference. There's 1 a quarter. It's the pit stop, the fastest cars in the track, y'all. The most high performance cars, the more high performance the car is, the more pit stops they have. Think about that. These goes and they stop. They're going like 300 miles an hour, and they stop to get tuned up. We get tuned up once a quarter. Now, what if, oh, no, man, I'm too busy to get tuned up? That's called you're going to break down. I mean, the best coaches in the game, y'all, the Phil Jacksons, and I don't know who the best coaches these days are, they know how to manage their players to peak performance. They know when to call a timeout, when to let them roll. We've done that. It's a quarterly conference. You need to show up. Now, some of us, we have it right next to us. It's like in our backyard. Others, you may have to travel. If you must travel, you travel. You just do it. But the question is, are you committed to the success of you or not? I'm going to say this and I'll move on. Your business is a baby. If your baby needed to go to a doctor that was 2 hours away for some ailment, would you be like, well, we're too busy. You see how stupid that is? I mean, I'm using that word on purpose because it should resonate emotionally with you. The word stupid back in the scripture days was being a fool. And so if you read in the good book, it says, thou fool. It's like, what an idiot. What idiot would say, oh, I'm too busy to take my child to a life-saving medicine, doctor, whatever else? Same concept. That means they either are lying that they care about their child or they are really cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You see what I'm saying? You can't have one of each. Give yourself a 10 if you're committed to going. And then, of course, number 10 pages of a book. Remember those two books? I'm just saying two. If you want to throw at me maybe why you think you need to read more, or if more would be too much or better, or what, hey, I'm not a guru, but I read a lot of books, and hey, I'm struggling with this. Do you have a recommendation? Hey, I'm more than happy to field it, but 10 pages of a good book every day, every day, every day, every day. I'll say this. Did you know that there was some time in America when people were sick? I'm talking really sick. Like in certain cities, you would see sick people all the time. And so imagine if you were trying to be a tourist and you went to a city. Some of you have actually gone to different countries. How inviting is it when you go to that country and you see like sick people like dying on the street? Like that'll make you want to go there. So as part of being a first world country, one of the things they have is access to medicine. Because there was a time when it cost this much to go to the doctor, people made this much, and so they did something called medical insurance. There was a gap that was filled because the people that were poor, they couldn't afford the good doctor, so they were dying. And of course, that affects the whole country, from workforce to tourism, the whole deal. So there was a gap that needed to be filled. Medical insurance came in. I'm telling you, it ain't just because people had the goodness of their heart, because it was affecting money. That's what makes the world run. It is what it is. Now, when it comes to mental, what's your medicine? So nowadays we take, we got I don't know, an ulcer. We take omeprazole. We got these issues. There isn't an issue you can have medically for you or your child that you wouldn't think, okay, I'll just go to the doctor, right? Because it's simple. The cost is not really a big issue, even though it sometimes is, right? It's less of a burden. But we neglect the mental. People got more mental problems than they got physical problems. I would even say the mental problems create the physical problems. What are you doing to solve the mental? Now, we can go to a counselor. Hey, we all need counseling. But here's what I'm saying, y'all. There is a big dearth right now of people don't believe in themselves. How is that possible? Y'all remember when you were kids? What do you be when you grow up? I'm gonna be a scientist. How did you go from anything is possible to, I don't think I can do it? It's a learned behavior. You're sick, just like people are physically sick. But you know what? They don't give themselves medicine. They don't have access. They didn't until the revolution happened. Now you got personal development everywhere. But you know the difference between physical pills and emotional and mental pills? People don't even take it. So to take it back full circle, number 10, you're giving yourself the pill. This is your medicine every day. Whatever you're trying to accomplish, here's what I'm going to share with you. You are good the way you are. In 2024, when I say be more in 2024, it isn't so much that you're trying to add on to yourself something that you're not. Don't get me confused. That's not what I'm saying. You were perfect when you were born. The reason that you're messed up, me too, is because stuff got added to your mind that messed you up. So you know what the purpose of your medicine is on a daily basis, your 10 pages, is to extract. It removes the junk, the disbelief, all this stuff that's been put in your mind from social to media to whatever. It gets all that gunk off. Now you as a normal person, as who you were born as, you can become who you want to be. That's what this is. You have to give yourself 10 pages every day of a good book, 15 minutes of good audio. That is your medicine. Without your medicine, if you got high blood pressure, how long would you last without that medicine? Think about that. Same concept. But the challenge is we don't see the effects of the spiritual illnesses, the emotional illnesses until after the fact. And then we got bad attitudes. Now we're using bad attitudes to try to affect this business and work with these poor attitudes. Just like when we come to work, You ever work with someone who was real sick? How effective were they? Very, very little. They tried, and some of them, they don't even know they don't know. So be the best you by taking the junk off. Use the books, y'all. And it doesn't have to be this book. You guys know what I mean. All right. 10 if you're going to do it. 0 if you're not. 5 if it's maybe. And then find a workout partner. When we go to conference, you're going to break bread together. You'll meet people. You'll become, I'm talking posse, connected. You will find people who like a squadron. In the military, the people that you're the closest with, y'all, are not the folks that you just hang out with per se. The people that you're the closest with are the people that you go through the hardest times with. And you go through hell with, because they'll be going through the same things with you, meaning they are going through the same medicine that they're giving themselves. They're trying to become a better them. And it will hurt for some of you. It ain't going to be pleasant. You're going to have a divorce with your old self. It will be a war, just straight up. Before you guys think it's going to be pleasant, there will be war. I'm talking an anarchy. I'm talking a coup d'etat. The mental government that's been governing your mind for the last 10, 15, 20, 30, 50, 60, 70 years, you think they're not going to go out swinging? You think they're just going to just, all right, take over the government? Man, they will fight you tooth and nail. So be prepared for a battle of the mind, of your mind. That's why it's you versus you in 2024. But in order to have enough firepower, you got to have this. You got to give enough sustenance to the new government of you to be able to win. Find a workout partner, because you're going to need that partner to hold you accountable. Accountable. So if you're going to do it, I'm talking just find someone, even in this, listen, get together, get on Haven chat. I mean, guys, there's so many. If you refuse to find a workout partner, give yourself a 0. If you will do it, give yourself a 10. Last but not least, commit to be here a year from now, y'all. Say, no matter what, I will do the best that I can, and I will be here January 1st, 2025. And in January 1st, 2025, that is when I will actually give my final score of whether I'm going to do this or not. Commit for 1 year, at least 1 year, that you will do all this. And if in 2025, you've committed, you've done all this, and it's not where you want to be, hey, feel free to roll out. But you know you gave it a fair shot, a fair shake. You did everything. And you're not going to blame the leads. You will blame the dollar system. You won't blame your leadership. You won't blame the company. You ain't going to blame anyone else. But you're going to I did everything. It's just not what God had intended for me, which that's truth. God has a plan for everybody. And this may not be your season right now. It could be that, but you at least gave it a fair shot for 1 year. Guys, that's how your 2024 will be the best year ever. Add up all those things. If you have a desire to build an agency, add them all up. Add them all up. And then divide by 12. Hey, if you're brave enough, let's forget brave. Listen, let's be all vulnerable, y'all. Throw your score down. Throw your score down in the chat right now. And I know we're in the new year. Everyone's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. But throw your score down in the chat. Hey, throw your score down of what it was maybe last week before the new year. And throw it what it's now, what your commitment level is. And decide whether you'll know right now, are you going to have a great 2024 or not? If it's a 70, you got a 70% chance that you might have a good 2024. If it's a 30, you may want to do something else. 30% chance. You guys feel me? All right. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to hold the last. We'll just knock out some questions, but at least for the folks that missed this, every week we'll be going through this. So take charge. We'll see you guys next week.